Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom nestled between snow-tipped mountains and silver rivers, there lived a queen whose greatest wish was for a child. One winter morning, while sewing by her ebony window, she pricked her finger. 3 drops of blood fell onto the white silk, bright as rubies on fresh snow. She whispered to herself, "If only I could have a child, with skin as white as this snow, lips as red as blood, and hair as black as this ebony frame." Soon after, her wish was granted. A beautiful baby girl was born, and the queen named her Snow White. But this joy was fleeting. The queen grew weak, and, with her last breath, she smiled at her daughter and whispered, "Be kind, little one. Always be kind." The king, though heartbroken, found comfort in his daughter's laughter. As years passed, he remarried. The new queen was a woman of stunning beauty, but her heart was filled with pride. She possessed a magical mirror forged by forest spirits. Every day she would ask it, "My queen, you are the fairest of them all," and every day it confirmed her vanity. Snow White grew up with a spirit as gentle as her appearance. She sang with the birds and showed kindness to every living creature. Her raven-black hair, moonlit skin, and radiant smile charmed everyone. But as Snow White blossomed, the queen's heart soured with envy. She saw the admiration in people's eyes whenever Snow White was near. One spring morning, the queen stood before her mirror and asked her usual question, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?" The mirror's voice was like a sigh. "My queen, you are fair, 'tis true, but Snow White is fairer still than you." A cold silence filled the room. The queen's world shattered. From that moment, her affection turned to bitter hatred. She tried to hide Snow White away, but the girl's beauty, rooted in her kindness, only grew stronger. Unable to bear it, the queen summoned her huntsman. "Take Snow White deep into the forest," she commanded softly, "and make sure she never returns." The huntsman's heart was heavy. He had known Snow White since she was a child. He led her into the whispering woods, but when they reached a quiet glade, he couldn't bring himself to do it. He dropped his knife and confessed the queen's cruel order. Snow White's eyes filled with tears, not for herself, but for the queen. "Her heart must be hurting greatly," she said. "Tell her I forgive her." Moved by her compassion, the huntsman urged her to run and never look back. Snow White ran until she was lost and exhausted. As moonlight filtered through the trees, she stumbled upon a tiny cottage. Inside, everything was small: 7 little chairs, 7 little plates, and 7 neat little beds. Tired and frightened, she tidied up a bit, ate a small meal, and fell asleep across the tiny beds. Later that evening, the cottage owners returned. 7 dwarfs, home from a long day in the mines. They were startled to find a beautiful girl sleeping in their home. "Who could she be?" one whispered. "An angel, perhaps," said another. When Snow White awoke, she told them her story. Their hearts went out to her, and the eldest dwarf said, "Stay with us. We will keep you safe." So, Snow White began a new life. She filled the little cottage with song and laughter, cooking and cleaning for her new friends. Every morning, as the dwarfs left for the mines, they warned her, "Beware, dear Snow White. The queen has a dark heart. Don't open the door to any strangers." Back at the castle, the queen approached her mirror with confidence. "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?" The mirror replied, "My queen, though fair you be, Snow White lives beyond the trees. She is the fairest still, you see." The queen was consumed by fury. Using dark magic, she disguised herself as an old peddler woman. She traveled to the cottage and tried to tempt Snow White with a beautiful silk ribbon. Remembering the dwarf's warning, Snow White refused to open the door but leaned out the window. The queen, enraged by her failed attempts first with the ribbon, then a poisoned comb, decided on a final deadly plan. She crafted a perfect apple, half of it bright red and laced with a sleeping poison, the other half pure white and safe. Disguised again, she found Snow White and offered her the fruit. "You needn't be afraid," the old woman said, taking a bite from the white side. Reassured, Snow White took a bite from the red side. Instantly, she fell to the floor, caught in a deep, death-like sleep. The queen returned to her castle, and when she asked her mirror who was the fairest, it finally answered, "You, my queen, you are the fairest of them all." But its voice sounded hollow and sad. When the dwarfs returned, they found Snow White lifeless. Heartbroken, they couldn't bear to bury her. They built a coffin of glass and placed it on a hilltop, where they watched over her through the changing seasons. Her beauty remained untouched, as if sleeping. One day, a prince riding through the forest saw the girl in the glass coffin. He was captivated not just by her beauty, but by the peaceful grace on her face. He begged the dwarfs to let him take her to his castle, promising to cherish and protect her. As his men lifted the coffin, one of them stumbled on a root. The jolt dislodged the piece of poisoned apple from Snow White's throat. Her eyes fluttered open. With a soft gasp, she took her first breath. The prince, overjoyed, knelt beside her. As Snow White looked around, dazed but alive, he helped her to her feet. News of her awakening spread like wildfire. The queen learned of it from her mirror, which declared Snow White the fairest once more. In a fit of rage, the queen smashed the mirror, and its shards only reflected her own twisted despair. She fled the castle, never to be seen again. Snow White returned to her kingdom, a symbol of light and forgiveness. She married the prince in a beautiful ceremony, inviting her dearest friends, the 7 dwarfs. As queen, she ruled with the kindness her mother had wished for her. She never needed a mirror again, for she knew true beauty comes from a kind and forgiving heart. And whenever the snow fell, she would remember her mother's words and her own life's lesson. Be kind. Always be kind. Thank you so much for watching this story unfold with us. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more timeless tales. We'll see you in the next one.